These plays are going to give you the best shot at winning today. This is the Daily Profit brought to you by Linemaker Sports. What we're going to do on today's show is we're going to go through the NBA and also some NFL play as well that is going to give you the best opportunity to end up winning. But before we get to that, let's talk about yesterday's show and talk about some of the results that we had. All right, first thing I want to talk about is Giannis. All right, we had Giannis. We were talking about him. He ended up hitting that middle spot to where he got the over PRA number that we had and the under PRA number. So he ended up hitting that one. The most highest probability play on the show yesterday was Cade Cunningham under 41.5 points, rebounds, and assists, and he had 41. All right, so he just ended up hitting that by a small mark. All right. That is why I tell you guys the numbers that I post are very important. There's a reason why I post those numbers. I don't just post them just to post them. I post them because it can come down to literally 1 point, a rebound, or an assist of whether you're going to win or you're going to lose a bet. Now, as for the F-bombs yesterday, didn't do as well. We had Steph Curry. He had an 80% opportunity to go under 41.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And we got lucky that it was a blowout, because if it wasn't a blowout, he probably wouldn't have been under that mark, because he had 36 going into pretty much 5 minutes left in the third quarter, which they pulled him out and he didn't play again. Now, the Clippers did have a little bit of a mistake on this one. The 93% probability for James Harden to go under 41.5 points, rebounds, and assists didn't factor in Kawhi Leonard not playing. Did not see that earlier on in the day that Kawhi Leonard was not going to be playing. I would have thought first game of the season he would be back, but he never likes to play basketball, so I guess he was sitting that game out. So it kind of threw our number off a little bit there. So that was a little bit of a mistake on my part there. Then we had Tyrese Halliburton. He had an 82% probability to go over 29.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He really didn't do absolutely anything until the fourth quarter. All right, so the first three quarters, he really didn't do much. So he ended up with, I think, 24, 25 points, rebounds, and assists. So he fell a little short of it, but he didn't do too much, and he shot terribly. He was like 1 for 9 from 3, and I think it was like 3 for 18 or something like that. It was something crazy where he had a very, very bad day for sure shooting. All right, but nonetheless, let's get on to today. All right, let's talk about Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma's got a 73% probability to go over 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Now, there has been some changes to the lineup for the Wizards as they've added Valanciunas. So that production-wise, I don't see it really cutting into Kuzma's usage that much. I mean, maybe a little, but not too much. All right, because Valanciunas is not a guy that the offense is really going to run through. So I don't see it really cutting into it too much there. Now, one downside of this is they are underdogs by a heavy amount. So there is a blowout factor in this game to where it could get out of hand, and then these guys end up not playing, which kind of brings us to our next guy here, Jaylen Brown. He's got a 70% probability to go under 36.5 points, rebounds, and assists. The Celtics are 13-point favorites. So if the game gets out of hand, this could actually help us with the unders. Not so much with the overs, but for an under, this could help us because similar to the Warriors last night with Steph Curry, they build a huge lead. Their starters sit, especially early in the season, they're not going to be putting those starters out there if it's a blowout whatsoever. So that could possibly mean that, just 3 quarters these guys play if it is a pretty big blowout. If it's not, then the unders could be in danger. This 70% under could be in danger if it is not a blowout. Which takes us to the next guy, Jason Tatum. Same thing. He's got a 73% shot to go under 46.5 points, rebounds, and assists. First game of the season, he ended up going off. He killed it in that first game. All right, he had a very good game and I think only really had 51 points, rebounds, and assists. So for him to really eclipse those big numbers for points, rebounds, assists, he has to go off. He has to have a great game. And this one, again, opportunity for it to be a blowout. Maybe he just plays 3 quarters and then calls it a day if it's a big blowout. If not, still he has to have a really, really good game to get above 46.5 points, rebounds, and assists. So regardless, he's going to have to play 4 quarters to get that number. Can't see him getting it in 3 quarters. There's only a couple people in the league that can do that. Giannis, Luka, Nikola Jokic, they could possibly in 3 quarters eclipse those type of numbers. But Tatum, don't see him as one of them that could do that. All right, so 73% chance for him to go under 46.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Now let's talk about Nikola Jokic, the Joker. All right, he might be in that sandwich mark like how we had Giannis. All right, Giannis yesterday was able to hit both, whether he did the over or the under number, and could possibly be the same thing here with Jokic. 63% to go over 44.5 points, rebounds, and assists, and then 60% to go under 51.5 points, rebounds, and assists. So he could possibly get in between that 44.5 and 51.5. So definitely an opportunity there for Jokic. Now let's talk about some football. All right, Thursday night football. This is really the only play that I've seen in tonight's game that has a possibility. Nothing really else stands out. All right, Aaron Jones has a 66% probability to go over 54.5 rushing yards. Now, he's been averaging 92 rushing yards versus teams with similar defense, similar rush defense as the LA Rams. So, if they feed him, that's just been the problem. When they don't feed him, he doesn't get the yards per carry that he needs to eclipse 50 plus. But if they can give him 13 to 17 carries, he should be able to get over that 54.5 threshold. Just depends on how much they're going to use him. All right. As for other things that I want to address too, especially earlier on in the NBA season, make sure you guys understand that if you're looking at data for a player, make sure that they, don't have somebody significant missing in the lineup, or they don't necessarily play on that team last season or whatnot. Similar tonight, you got DeMar DeRozan, who has a pretty good shot for his over PRA, but he's on a different team. Same thing with De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox has a good shot as well, but now you're adding DeMar DeRozan in there. That could hurt his usage. So you kind of have to see how that plays out with some of these teams that added players in, or some players that are sitting out. You got to see how that data goes. Similar to last night, James Harden number. What I should have did, if I paid attention enough to see that Kawhi Leonard was sitting out later on in the day, that, you have to go through and you have to see the data of how that player played without that player in the prior season. That's the data you would use, because you can't use the data with that player in. All right, so that's just a couple examples of how it's very crucial, little details here and there, because it'll throw your data off, it'll throw your numbers off, and your probabilities. All right. As for the F-bombs, I got an 80% NBA, 79% NBA, 78% NBA, 77% NHL, and a 92% college football prop, which that one's almost in that echelon of it's probably going to hit. All right, so we got those in there. Let's go through the slate one more time. All right, start Kyle Kuzma, 73% probability to go over 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Good shot there if the game stays close. If it stays close with the Celtics. If it's a blowout, that hurts your overs for any of them. If there's a blowout, it hurts your overs for sure. Jaylen Brown, 70% chance to go under 36.5 PRA. He could possibly go under that mark. Even if he plays 4 quarters, he could still possibly go under that mark. If it's a blowout and he only plays 3 quarters, he's definitely probably going under that mark. All right, similar to Jason Tatum here. He's going to have to go off to pretty much beat that number. He's not going to get it in 3 quarters, so if it is a blowout, that definitely will benefit the under number as well. Nikola Jokic, possible middle play here where you can get over 44.5 and you can go under 51.5. Similar, like I said, what we did with Giannis last night. So possibly, when you get 2 probabilities there in the same range, you could possibly get both of them. All right, and then Aaron Jones, 66% probability to go over 54.5 rushing yards. That's if they feed him. If they feed him, he averages 92 rushing yards a game versus similar defenses as the LA Rams. So as long as they feed him, he should be able to hit that number pretty well. All right, and as for the F-bombs, like I said, 3 NBA props that are 78% or above, NHL prop 77, and a college football that is 92%. All right, as always, guys, this is the Daily Profit. I'm Frank with Linemaker Sports. I'll see you guys in the next show. Till then, I'm out.